welcome back to the channel. Hey guys, how are you? Yes, I'm streaming again today. I know I've been streaming a lot. I know my audience and everyone, you guys been tuning in back to back to back to back. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna continue streaming, but I'm gonna stop streaming a little bit less because I'm really just waiting for like the monetization to kick in because I got enough watch hours and everything, and I'm just waiting for YouTube to update and to do my AdSense so that way I can get the monetization. But other than that, I already have enough watch hours, I already have enough views, so there's not really any point to keep going live now that I meet the status quo. But also, like, I'm not always here on every single live stream. I know it seems like I might be pretty interactive, but I have like my second computer doing work, other stuff going on, like a lot of stuff going on. I don't just stream. But I do just like show a lot of the videos sometimes, let that play while I do stuff. But yeah, I do have to stream. We're gonna make this channel monetized. We just gotta wait for the updates and everything to come out. But yeah, Joe Biden, whatever, Donald Trump just went to meet with Joe Biden in the White House. And yeah, that was just a quick little update for you guys. I have a lot more travel content. I just posted the Mike Tyson versus the Jake Paul thing. But yeah, go check that out if you haven't. I want to bring a few more guests on the podcast. That's really what I'm going to start doing. Less and less streams. Like, this might even be like one of my last streams for today or for tonight. But I'm going to start doing less and less streams until I get monetized. And once I get monetized, I'll bring on the guests. Like I said, I have enough watch hours. I just need YouTube to update one more time, and then you guys can donate or whatever you want to do and we can actually make money. But until then, I'm just gonna like stop streaming a little bit less. I'm gonna keep posting shorts and videos because I want to see, watch out for the shorts and videos mostly, because that's pretty much like what I'm gonna be focusing on. What else do I have to say other than that before I start showing you guys the video? That's pretty much it. Like, I don't, when I stream, I'm not always there, but I do love showing you guys entertaining content. I multitask. I'm a big multitasker. But I just wanted to make that clear because I'm sure some people see like streams that are like 6 hours and they're like, "Oh my god, a 6 hour stream? You're sitting there for 6 hours?" Not exactly. I mean, I have my computer set up, two computer screens set up while I do other work or I do other things. But no, not really. I don't really just sit there like, for that long. But I did get monetized off of it, so I just gotta wait for it to update. And yeah, there's that. But yeah, I'll show you guys the Trump clips now. Hey guys, thank you for joining in, Joe Biden meeting with Donald Trump in the office.
Nominations that we've been hearing about. The president-elect has tapped tech billionaire Elon Musk for a role in his incoming cabinet, overseeing a new Department of Government Efficiency. That's alongside his one-time rival for the Republican presidential nomination, multimillionaire Vivek Ramaswamy. Donald Trump said in a statement, the department will become potentially the Manhattan Project of our time, referring to the American program to develop the first atomic bomb. It is unclear exactly what form the new department will take. Now, Mr. Trump also plans to nominate South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem to be his Secretary of Homeland Security, and to nominate TV presenter and Fox News host Pete Hegseth as Defense Secretary, as well as former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe to be Director of the CIA. Now, to discuss these appointments, I'm joined by North America correspondent David Willis. David, let's start with that Musk-Ramaswamy pick from Donald Trump for that incoming Department of Government Efficiency. Tell us more.
Yes, indeed, Steve. He's moving quickly, isn't he, Donald Trump, to unveil the people who will be populating his cabinet when he returns to the White House next year. Just a week, of course, after he won that election, and he has named, as you mentioned, Elon Musk, who together with another entrepreneur, Vivek Ramaswamy, somebody who competed with Donald Trump for the Republican presidential nomination, they will head this Department of Government Efficiency, and it is, in a sense, a reward support for Mr. Musk, I think, who became a very staunch supporter of Donald Trump in the latter stages of the Trump campaign, didn't he? Pumping millions of his own money into Mr. Trump's run for office, ultimately successful run for office. Now, together, according to this statement from the Trump transition team, these two men will dismantle.
Guys, hit the like and
bureaucracy,
subscribe button if you're
wasteful
just joining in.
expenditure,
A lot of
and
recent
create
news on the
an
Trump.
entrepreneurial approach to government. Now, the government spending in this country is thought to amount to around $6.5 trillion a year, and it's thought that this effort by Mr. Musk and Mr. Ramaswamy could lead to the loss of quite a few jobs in the federal government, Steve.
Yes, they're complicated by their various business interests. I'm sure that will be a topic of conversation. Let's move on then to Kristi Noem. She's been nominated for Homeland Security.
That's right, and she is a hardliner, a long-time hardliner, as far as immigration policy is concerned. She's the South Dakota governor currently, and with the other people who are looking to take on the challenge, a central challenge to the Trump campaign of immigration, people like Stephen Miller, who his appointment hasn't been formally announced yet, but he's widely thought to be Deputy White House Chief of Staff, and somebody who, of course, has been seen as the architect of that controversial policy during the first Trump administration, which separated thousands of migrants from their parents. And the man has been named as the so-called border czar, Tom Homan. This will represent an extremely conservative, very hard line, a group of people devoted to that key Trump strategy of limiting the amount of illegal immigration into this country.
So let's bring in former White House Deputy Chief of Staff and Fox News contributor Karl Rove. Karl, you've been in these situations where you are trying to build a team for the White House. What do you think of how this process is going so far?
Well,
Hit the like and subscribe button, guys. Donald Trump is about to come in.
With its own tariffs on American goods, Mexico is the largest trading partner of the U.S. And Dogecoin shot up.
This is an ABC News special report. Now,
Hit the like and subscribe button. Donald Trump, 2024.
We're coming on the air because we're about to get our first look at today's White House meeting between President Biden and President-elect Donald Trump, the two sitting down in the Oval Office just a short time ago. This is Donald Trump's first time back in the White House since he left Washington in January 2021. There has been no shortage of harsh words, obviously, from either side for the other. President Biden inviting Trump to the White House after his election victory over Vice President Kamala Harris. There was no White House meeting after Joe Biden defeated Donald Trump in 2020. President Biden committing to uphold the peaceful transfer of power. This meeting comes as Donald Trump moves quickly with his transition team at Mar-a-Lago, building his new administration. He's already filling top positions, including naming his chief of staff, deputy chiefs of staff, UN ambassador, and Homeland Security chief. Last night, he also revealed Fox News weekend host and Army veteran Pete Hegseth as his choice for defense secretary. We also know Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will play major roles in the new administration, creating the Department of Government Efficiency. It will likely exist outside the federal government, with its expected focus to cut many government agencies. President-elect Trump has vowed on day one to rescind a number of President Biden's executive orders, including those concerning immigration. As they meet in the White House, Republicans
Hit the like and subscribe button, guys.
new leadership in Congress, who will be the next Senate Majority Leader, with Mitch McConnell stepping down.
2 more subscribers until we're at 2,700, guys. Come on, hit the like and subscribe button. Much appreciated, family. Hit the like and subscribe button. Love you guys. Hope you're having a great Wednesday.
Majority Leader. Florida Senator Rick Scott, a staunch Trump supporter, is up against Senator John Thune and John Cornyn. Trump has not publicly endorsed any of them. President-elect Trump will take the oath of office a little more than 2 months from now. Let's go to the Oval Office. We'll look at the pictures here.
Hit the like and subscribe button, guys.
And President-elect Donald Trump, the invitation extended by Biden. Let's look. Here we are, right?
Congratulations. And looking forward to having, like we said, a smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need. We're going to get a chance to talk about some of that today. So, welcome. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. And the transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate it, Jim.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
We can't blame them for not trying. They're the reporters in the Oval Office asking questions of the President-elect Trump right there, and of President Biden, smiling at each other, but not taking the bait, if you will, any of the questions inside that room. You heard President Biden say to the President-elect, we want to make sure you have a smooth transition of power. We're here to help you with anything that you need. The President-elect saying politics is tough, that the world is not a nice place, but it is a nice place today. Certainly appreciating the extension from President Biden to make this transfer as peaceful as possible. Let's bring in our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, also watching these images as they're coming in. And Mary, as you look at the image, it's quite notable. President Trump did not extend this courtesy 4 years ago when Biden beat him. President Biden, in an effort to strike a new tone moving forward, extending that invitation today.
David, this is something we haven't seen in 8 years, and yet the president felt it was very important for the world to see this, to see these images, and for him to be able to reiterate and underscore his commitment to a peaceful and smooth transition. And it was clear, I was in the room there as the pool reporter today in the Oval for that, and it really felt like both the president-elect and the president after this bitter, hard-fought campaign. We're really trying to bring down the temperature there. As you noted, Donald Trump mentioned, look, politics is a tough business, but they are trying to move forward. And it is interesting to hear Donald Trump there in this meeting, a ritual that he did not afford President Biden 4 years ago, but saying that he appreciates this outreach, that he appreciates moving forward for a smooth transition ahead, David.
Mary, stick with us. I'll come back to you in just a moment. John Carl, you're also watching along. I know you were there when then President Obama extended the invitation to the president-elect Donald Trump for his first term in office.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, these are two moments that are extremely rare in the life and career of Donald Trump. Two moments where he is not the person driving the conversation. He is not the person who is convening the meeting. You see, Joe Biden there, welcome him, short.
Hit the like and subscribe button, guys.
Gracious remarks.
Much appreciated. Slap the like and subscribe button.
Almost exactly, David, 8 years ago when Barack Obama invited Trump to come to the White House. Back then, it was just 2 days after the 2016 election. And a very similar scene at that point. Donald Trump actually said that he would be seeking counsel of President Obama as he started his administration. And I asked him a question at the time, and it was the one question that was answered. I said, are you really going to seek counsel from Barack Obama? And he said, yes, he would. And I'll tell you, the graciousness didn't last long back then. It was another obviously bitter campaign. We'll see how long the graciousness lasts this time.
John Carl, I appreciate it. Let's get right to the Hill. Rachel Scott, a lot of news on Capitol Hill. The president-elect was there just a short time ago. Now, of course, at the White House with President Biden. That's the spray from the beginning of the meeting. I presume the meeting continues between the two, President Biden, President-elect Trump. But significant for a number of reasons at the White House. Also significant his visit to the Hill just a short time ago.
Exactly, David. Before that face-to-face meeting between President Biden and also President-elect Donald Trump, the President-elect was here near Capitol
Hit the like button!
Republicans behind closed doors, and I'm told right off the bat you had Speaker Johnson.
Hit the like and subscribe button as well, but mostly hit the subscribe button. But guys, hit the like button too. Thank you guys for joining in. Trump 2024.
They're inching closer to a strong majority, although it may be small, over in the House. I'm told by multiple members who were in the room that the president-elect also praised Speaker Johnson. He also said that I suspect I won't be running again unless you say he's so good we've got to figure something else out. Multiple members inside that room told me that was intended to be a joke, that several people also chuckled in that room as well. But of course, just on the other side of the chamber, you have Senate Republicans who will be electing their new majority leader right now. This is a Republican conference that is going to be strengthened with President-elect Donald Trump at the White House. And as this is all playing out, David, also House Democrats meeting for the first time behind closed doors. And in his very first acknowledgement, Leader Jeffries did acknowledge to House Democrats that he does feel that it is very unlikely that the House is going to flip in their favor. He says that the buck stops with him, and he looks forward to trying to retake the majority back in 2026, David.
Yeah,
I leaked the Mike Tyson versus the Jake Paul fight, guys, on my channel. The Mike Tyson versus the Jake Paul leaked fight, guys. Before it's released on Friday, I leaked it. It was shot in a Netflix studio, so please go check it out. It's on my channel.
Yesterday, Vice President Kamala Harris returning to the White House for the first time to have lunch with President Biden, and she was greeted by hundreds of workers at the White House and the old executive.
Woo! You lost! Yay! Hit the like and subscribe button, guys, and go check out the Mike Tyson leaked fight on my channel now, before it's released by Netflix on Friday.
To get done, but that she was grateful for their support. Mary Bruce, any reporting on the lunch between President Biden and the Vice President, the words that they might have shared?
Yeah, this private meeting between the two of them, this luncheon, the first really extended time that the president and the vice president have had alone together since the election. The White House, not surprisingly, not reading out too many details of that. This was a private conversation between the two of them. The vice president, we know, is back at work. She's meeting, we are told, with staff and aides today. She notably is not a part of this Oval Office meeting today. You can imagine that would have been a bit uncomfortable. And the White House stressing today is really about a chance for the president and the president-elect to meet, but it was hard not to look at those images yesterday and see that she clearly was touched.
Hit the like and subscribe button, guys, and go check out the leaked fight on my channel, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul.
Pictures of the moment, the news at this hour. Again, President Biden meeting in the Oval Office with President-elect Donald Trump. The president extending his hand right there, and the invitation to the president-elect, a courtesy that was not extended 4 years ago. President Biden saying in front of the cameras, "We are here for a peaceful transfer of power to make sure you have everything you need as you enter into your administration." President-elect Trump saying politics is tough. He said in many ways the world is not a nice place, but it is a nice world today in that moment with President Biden. Our coverage continues on ABC News Live, abcnews.com. I'll be back with the entire team for World News Tonight. I'm David Muir in New York. I'll see you a little later today. Have a good day.
Momentarily. I want to bring in Trey Gowdy, Hugh Hewitt, Josh Krashower as we see the plane pull up, and we'll see the stairs arrive momentarily. And then, gentlemen, we will be off and running today. Trey, you're first. How do you view the moment now?
Hit the like and subscribe button if you love Donald J. Trump.
About a week ago, it's more than a comeback. I mean, I don't know what kind of plane Grover Cleveland took back to Washington, but you
Guys, I leaked the Mike Tyson versus the Jake Paul fight on my channel. Go check it out before it gets deleted. Seriously.
When he gets to Capitol Hill, it's gonna be celebratory. They've been in the wilderness for 4 years, but he's gonna remind them. Some of you wouldn't be in the room if it weren't for me. And the last time I was president, y'all stalled my agenda. It wasn't John McCain, it was y'all at first, you GOP members of the House, some of you. So you better get with it and let me hit the ground running my first 100 days, or history tells us some of you won't be in the room 2 years from now.
Hugh, would love your historical perspective here.
Well, I worked for Richard Nixon out of college, Dana, and up until this moment, Richard Nixon was the greatest political comeback story in American political history. Now Donald Trump is the greatest political comeback story in American political history because Richard Nixon was never shot in the head. And so I think we are witnessing history today, and it's going to continue to unfold. Very happy with the rapid rollout of the team across all the different silos. More will be coming, no doubt, in short order. Good campaign, great transition. Hopefully an extraordinarily successful second term for Donald Trump.
There, we're looking screen right, guys, and we can show the Senate Republicans going into their private meeting.
Guys, this is how you get views, copyright free.
John Thune walked there.
Hit the like and subscribe button. Check out the recent fight, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, leaked on my channel. Hit the like button right there.
What is top of mind for you?
Boy, this is a triumphant moment for the president-elect returning to Washington, at a moment where he really has the control of the Republican Party, and it's going to be fascinating, as Trey was alluding to see him meet with the House Republican caucus. Trump was frankly is responsible for the expected Republican majority. If you look at states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, some of the big wins by House Republicans in those states, they won because of Trump's coattails. There are other Republican lawmakers that got elected in this year because of Donald Trump. So this is going to be a much more united party, but it's also going to be a very narrow majority for the Republicans. So unity is going to be the name of the game. This is going to be a more unified party, but there's no margin for error for House Republicans. And on the Senate side, it's going to be fascinating to see who emerges as the Senate Republican leader. I know there are a lot of supporters of Donald Trump that like Rick Scott and his more grassroots. He's been very closely tied to the MAGA grassroots, but I think John Thune is probably the favorite, and it'll be interesting to see what Trump has to say about all three Senate Republicans.
Trey, could you talk a little bit about teamwork and the leadership from the White House and how that could help Republicans work together as a team? You know, like once you have a little bit of success and you show that you can work together as a team, it can sometimes then propel more success.
Yes, Dana, you put your finger on it. Momentum. The momentum was lost in 2016 or 2017 when he came in. Remember, all the talk was repeal and replace Obamacare, and it was actually the Freedom Caucus that voted down that first attempt, and all the momentum was lost. You've got the debt ceiling coming up, you've got budget reconciliation, you've got the border, which you better address because you ran on it. Now, the good news is the House has already passed a border and immigration bill, but what Trump needs to do is say, look, because some of the worst offenders in the House are his biggest supporters. He's going to say, you leave Mike Johnson alone. Do not do to him what you did to Kevin McCarthy. Quit these internecine fights. We have a very short window of time to do what we promised to do. And if we don't do it, we won't be back together again. But some of his closest supporters, Dana, they're the problem children in the House. So he can talk to them in a way that other Republicans cannot.
Yeah, John, Hugh, I was thinking with Carl about a half an hour ago about what Trump learned from the first time around and whether or not they can make him more experienced and a better commander-in-chief and perhaps maybe a better manager of the U.S. government along the way. He had a noticeable disdain for the intelligence community the first time around. I don't know how much you've thought about that going into a second term now, 4 years removed, but what comes to mind, do you think, when you look at some of the appointments and maybe how he's carving his way through that part of the U.S. government?
First thing that comes to mind, Bill, is he's not going to sit down with the equivalent to Jim Comey, Jim Clapper, and John Brennan and get ambushed again, which destroyed a lot of the momentum in the first term and led to the Mueller investigation and the Russia stuff. I think he has done, I got to disclose, my son works for Mike Waltz, so I've got to put that on the table whenever I talk about this. By bringing Waltz into the NSA job, National Security Advisor job, by bringing J.D. Vance into the vice presidency, he has pipelines right back to the Senate and to the House, which are effective. They're very, very well-respected members of those bodies. J.D. Vance is in the leadership vote this morning. Mike Waltz is in the leadership vote this morning. His whole team, including Pete Hegseth, and I hope we get to that because I've got smoke coming out of my ears listening to some of the elite snobs in the Beltway saying Pete Hegseth
Let me just pause there for a moment because President-elect Trump is descending the stairs from his plane, returning to Washington, D.C., triumphant in his victory, and we'll see. He's going to hit the ground here in a moment, and then he's off to the races.
Appropriate color for the tie today, I would say, red, white, and blue. As he comes down the stairs, and then with the salute, we'll head to Capitol Hill to meet with House Republicans, and we believe he'll be there for about 30 minutes and make his way to the White House, and we'll track all of it. Go ahead, Hugh, and finish your thought.
I'm just going to say the personal satisfaction here has got to be extraordinary, but John Ratcliffe at the CIA and said to be Marco Rubio at State Department, Elise Stefanik is a brilliant person to lead the West and voice America's concerns at the UN. Susie Wiles is liked by, I don't know her very well, talked to her once, liked by everybody. I just think he's put together...
Guys, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul leaked on my channel, guys.
And I hope Pete Hegseth gets the fair hearing he deserves, because anyone who reads his book, War on Warriors, will know he knows what he's talking about on TRT.
He certainly does, and I've read some. There was some criticism, but there's a lot of support for him too. Also called an inspired choice and generational change. Josh Kraushaar, can you talk a little bit about the runway for President Trump in order to try to get something done for the economy, which was the #1 issue for voters?
Well, look, Dana, the economic picks, starting with the Treasury Secretary, are going to be critical, and I think. If the rollout of the national security team is any indication, this has been a much smoother transition than what we saw back in 2016. He has picked choices that have united both the more traditional conservatives, Marco Rubio expected at State, Stefanik at the UN, Ratcliffe at CIA. These are folks that have united both wings of the Republican Party. They've been announced quickly. I remember that you had a lot of the potential candidates in 2016 coming to Trump Tower, and there was a whole kind of chaotic process back when Trump was first elected. This is a very streamlined process, very well organized. Credit to Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, who ran a very tight ship on the campaign and has translated those managerial successes now to the administration, the incoming administration.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
Mr. President-elect and former President.
Thank you.
Donald, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And looking forward to having, like we said, a smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need. We're going to get a chance to talk about some of that today. It's good. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. And a transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Jim.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
So there are a lot of things to gather in those few moments, which is why it's important to see all of them. We hadn't heard from Biden, we took it so quickly. So you've got to see that exchange between two people who really were in quite the epic political battle. Not just 4 years ago in 2020, but fast forward up until June 27th and that debate that basically destroyed Joe Biden's opportunity to stay atop the ticket for the Democratic Party. And when you hear the president-elect say politics is tough, and after that's over, it can be a nice world. We're in a nice world today. Martha, what goes through your mind when you hear that?
Well, first of all, that this is very short.
Right?
They brought in former President Trump. It appears to me that the White House wanted this to be as tight a moment as humanly possible.
Why do you think that is?
Well, gracious invitation, obviously, from Joe Biden. Joe Biden is a career, lifelong politician. These two men could not be more different. Donald Trump has spent his entire life in business, and then he became president and learned the ropes. Joe Biden has been in Washington since he was 28 years old. So these two men, while they are in the same ballpark of age, they are light years apart in so many ways. But I think they wanted this to be tight, Harris. I don't think they wanted to give the incoming president the opportunity to sort of take this moment over. But it was a cordial moment between these two men, and this is what I think America wants to see. I thought, for me, the most sort of poignant moment was when Biden looked at Trump and said, "Welcome back."
Bill.
It's quite a moment. I agree with you, Martha. I wrote that down as well. By the way, that fire behind them is ripping. And I don't know if the meeting they're about to have will be as warm as that fire between the two men, but we'll find out momentarily. When he met with Barack Obama, the meeting went 90 minutes. Who's to say how long this goes? I thought what Jake Sullivan said on CBS on Sunday was kind of interesting. He said, we want to know what his ideas are. I don't think Donald Trump is the kind of guy who wants to show his hand. He's got fires that he wants to put out all over the world.
Literal ones.
Yeah, and some of these cabinet positions, not necessarily cabinet, but the people on his team, I think are very interesting. You know, Fox Digital reported 2 hours ago, they broke the news that there will be a Ukraine envoy to try and settle that matter. That's going to be massively complicated, by the way.
Do you think that came up or will come up as these two men talk?
I imagine it will. I mean, that would be my guess. But again,
Guys, check out the recent video I posted, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. I leaked the fight. I said it a few times already. I don't know if you guys saw it, though.
And there's a great piece in the Wall Street Journal this morning. It lays out how complicated this is to peel away the different factions, whether it's Putin, whether it's Iran, whether it's the North Koreans with upwards of 10 to 15,000 troops ready to join that battle. And then you've got Zelensky and whether or not he would take a deal. So that's massively complicated. I think the other thing, Stephen Witkoff is a man that most Americans don't know. He's a highly successful and very accomplished individual. He's been really good friends with Donald Trump going back 30 years. He's going to be the Middle East envoy. There is a possibility, this peace deal that was moving forward between the Saudis and the Israelis that was blown up on October 7th after Hamas, broke through the fence and went into Israel. That has a chance of coming back. And that has a chance of coming back on track. And if it does, that entire region has the potential to change.
So that's so interesting because we have seen reports recently of Jared Kushner coming back into the picture a little bit. And of course, the Abraham Accords were so monumental. It's one of the few areas that Biden didn't touch, actually, in terms of Trump policy. I think he gets where we are in the world. You notice that he's not going to expire, as lack of a better term, the weapons money that we're giving them and the accoutrement that goes with that, actual weapons to Israel. I mean, that calendar has slowed down now under Biden's watch. Martha, what's your quick
Well,
comment?
I'm just thinking about the Secretary of State spokesperson saying, well, we're not going to basically publicly admonish Israel yet. Right? We're not going to cut off the weapons supply yet. We're watching what happens. We're watching whether or not enough aid flows into Gaza. The tone has shifted dramatically with the people who have been appointed. You see, Mike Huckabee will be the ambassador to Israel. This is a team that is very Israel strength focused. We know that Netanyahu and Trump have had at least 3 conversations. This tone has completely changed. My guess, former President Trump loves to interact with people. He loves to talk to people. I think this meeting will be beefy in that response. But I don't think they're going to dig a lot into the future policy.
Well, and Bill made a good point. John, I'll come to you next. I mean, Trump isn't going to show his hand. However, he did a bit when he was running to the American people, to voters, and it may be part and parcel for the support that he got from the Jewish community. You cannot ignore the pickup of Jewish voters in this country, given all of the anti-Semitic behaviors, riots, protests, death threats, actual violence. I mean, it has been quite the last 6 months to a year. So it makes sense for him to make that public during the campaign, what he would do. He was going to reach out, talk with leaders before he became the president in January. Just your thoughts and reporting on that. I know you were in Israel not too long ago.
Yeah, and I think that the appointment of Mike Huckabee, or at least the nomination of Mike Huckabee to be the year's ambassador to Israel, is a brilliant move on the president's part. Huckabee, very dedicated to Israel. Israel loves Huckabee, and I think that will facilitate a very constructive dialogue between the United States and Israel. Don't forget, as you pointed out, the president vowed that he would end the Ukraine war before he took office. So we'll see what he does on that front. We'll see what his conversations with Vladimir Putin might lead to. This idea of maybe ending the war in the Middle East in a fairly short time period, I think, is one that will go over well. A friend of mine lives in Beirut. She told me that all the women in Lebanon are crushing over the choice of Pete Hegseth for defense secretary. Pete, of course, is a very good-looking fella, and they like his military record, but they also think that he will be part of this idea of peace through strength. Let me come back also to the point that I was making earlier, that Harold also alluded to about
We won.
Trump's second term. Don't forget, literally, from the moment he took office on January 20th, 2017, he was under siege. He was under siege from Democrats. He was under siege from the media. At every turn, the wolves were at the door.
But check out who won in the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight that I leaked on my channel. That's really interesting.
He was just out of office. But over the last 4 years, he's really come to realize and identify where the traps are, where the pitfalls are in the presidency, and how to avoid them. And I think just by virtue of the cabinet picks that we have seen so far, Trump learned a lot from his first administration, and I think that he won't be as under siege as he would have been.
Well, we shall see. I mean, Judge Ron Marchand may have something to say about that. I mean, we thought we were going to get a decision this week in the case that has a sentencing date for November 26th. Now, that date moves off the calendar, and we're waiting for November 19th to see if that conviction will stay and there will be sentencing with that. I mean, we're still watching lawfare against this president-elect. It's an interesting spot to be in.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.
Alright guys, hit the like and subscribe button. Check out my recent video, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Much appreciated.
All right, let's get going. Fox News alert, President-elect Trump will leave Mar-a-Lago any moment and head to Washington.
You already did.